Hi students, today's topic is adrenal gland. Where is the adrenal gland present? What is the location? What are the different types of tissues present in adrenal gland? What are their roles? We'll be discussing now. Okay, adrenal gland. As the name indicates, renal. Renal means related with the excretory system or kidney here. So as the name indicates, the adrenal gland is an endocrine gland which is associated with the kidneys. Hence it is called as adrenal gland. Okay. So kidney. So this is a kidney and here is the adrenal gland. This is the adrenal gland and this is a fact. That's the location of adrenal gland. So where is the adrenal gland present? It is in the superior position, anterior position of the kidney. This is a kidney. Adrenal gland is present in the superior or anterior position of the kidney. Hence the adrenal gland is also called as suprarenal gland. Suprarenal gland. Because it is present in the superior position of the kidney. Hence it is called as suprarenal gland. That's the location of adrenal gland. Adrenal gland contains two types of tissues. The gland contains two types of tissues here. Two types of tissues. One is called as adrenal cortex. Other is called as adrenal medulla. So these are the two types of tissues present in the adrenal gland. Where is the cortex present? Where is medulla? Let's discuss now. This cortex is outer or peripheral tissue. Outer or peripheral tissue. What is outer? Peripheral means outside. Baha. Next one is medulla. Inner or central one. The core one. Central. So there are two types of tissues present in the adrenal gland. Called as outer or peripheral adrenal cortex and inner or central one called as adrenal medulla. In this one, the adrenal cortex is derived from mesoderm. It is derived from mesoderm. During embryonic stages, adrenal cortex is derived from mesoderm, whereas medulla is derived from ectoderm. Derived from which one? Ectoderm here. So both are different from embryological point of view. One is from the mesoderm, other is from the ectoderm. Similarly, their functional roles are also totally different. Even though they are structurally associated and present within the same gland, but functionally and embryologically they are totally different. So where are these glands, where are these tissues present in the adrenal gland? What is the structure of the adrenal gland? Let's discuss now. Clear? So this is a structure. So this is the adrenal gland structure. The outer part, this is the adrenal cortex. Adrenal cortex. And here is the adrenal medulla. These ones. So adrenal cortex, as you can see, is the outer part. This one is the adrenal cortex. See here, this is the adrenal cortex. And this one is the adrenal medulla here, which I am dotting here. This one is the adrenal medulla. Okay, these are two different types of tissues. One is peripheral one, other is the central one. Okay, students, and they have the structurally, see here, they are closely associated. They are present in the same gland, but they are different embryologically. One is derived from ectoderm, other is derived from mesoderm. Embryologically, they are different, and functionally also they are different. What is the role? What is the role of adrenal cortex? Let's discuss now. So first of all, let's discuss the adrenal cortex. What are the different parts of adrenal cortex and what the hormones secreted? Let's discuss in detail here. Okay, students, very simple. So adrenal cortex, I'm rubbing this one. Okay, there is no need of now. This one, adrenal cortex now. The cortex is taking its position. Adrenal cortex. The peripheral tissue derived from mesoderm is called as the adrenal cortex. So all of you type in the comment box below. Adrenal cortex is derived from dash. What is the answer? And adrenal medulla is derived from dash. What is the answer? All of you type in the comment box below first. So adrenal cortex. The hormones released by the cortex are called as corticoids. Corticoids. Also called as steroid hormones. Steroid hormones or steroids. Simply called as steroids. And these are derived from which one? Cholesterol. Cholesterol. The hormones which are derived from cholesterol are called as corticoids or steroid hormones or steroids. Now what is the structure of adrenal cortex? You said no doubt it is present in the outer part of the adrenal gland. Okay. See here, just remember one quote, bachon. It's very simple. Going for rescue mission. Going for rescue mission, G, F, or M. Okay, finished. It's very simple. So G stands for which one? Zona glomerulosa. You see here. All of you see here, bachon. It's very simple. So this is a structure called as zona glomerulosa. What is this one? Zona glomerulosa. G stands for glomerulosa. G stands for going. Okay, students. Next one is F. F stands for fur. The same way here. F stands for fasciculata. What is this? Fasciculata. Zona fasciculata. F stands for fasciculata. F stands for fur here. Okay, now quote. Next one. Again, R. R stands for rescue. And R here stands for reticularis. R stands for reticularis here. This one is a reticularis. Zona reticularis. Zona reticularis here. And M. You might be wondering what is M. It is nothing but our adrenal medulla. Here, what is that? Adrenal medulla. This one is the adrenal medulla here. This one's. Oh, this one is creating a problem. Okay. So this one is also a problem. Okay, it's okay. So this one is the adrenal medulla. What is that? Adrenal medulla here. This is the adrenal cortex. What you see here, up to here, this is the adrenal cortex, cortex part, and this is the medulla part here, medulla part. And total one is called as adrenal gland. Adrenal gland consists of, so what is the sequence? GFR, glomerulosa, fasciculata, reticularis, then followed by medulla here. And this is a sequential question indeed, very important. So outer to inner, what is outer to inner? All of you make a note sequence. So all of you type in the comment box below. Outer to inner, what is the sequence? Glomerulosa followed by inner one, fasciculata, furthermore inner one, reticularis, innermost one. What is the innermost one? Medulla here. That is the sequential question in the day. Okay, students, all of you. So we are discussing which one? The cortex. The hormones released by the cortex are called as corticoids, which are nothing but steroid hormones or steroids. They are the derivatives of the cholesterol. And what are the corticoids released by the glomerulosa? What are the corticoids released by the fasciculata and reticularis? We will be discussing now here. Okay, students. Not this one. This one in the next lecture. Medulla I will be discussing in the next lecture. Okay, students. Now, what is the code? All of you write the code. I forgot to tell you. All of you write mention the code in the comment box below first. So in this one, the glomerulosa releases the mineralocorticoids. Mineralocorticoids. Fasciculata releases which one? Glucocorticoids. And reticularis releases the 6 corticoids. 6 corticoids. Clear, bachon? So we will be discussing first of all which one? Zona glomerulosa, which releases the mineralocorticoids. Let's discuss the mineralocorticoids. Okay, it's very simple, isn't it? I'm rubbing the end of them now. So next one is zona. First of all, what is that? GFR, isn't it? Glomerulosa, fasciculata, reticularis. So what is outermost part? Glomerulosa. Let's discuss now the glomerulosa part here. Glomerulosa. Zona glomerulosa, which releases the mineralocorticoids. Mineralocorticoids, which are responsible for mineral metabolism of the human body. Mineral metabolism of the human body. How it maintains the mineral metabolism? Let's discuss now. Okay, students. So before this one, let's discuss a very fundamental structure here, nephron. So this is a U-shaped hemisphere, DCT, and here is the collecting duct. This is a collecting duct. So these are various parts of the renal tubule here, and here is an interstitium. Here is a interstitium present, and here is a renal filtrate present. Well, what is present here? Renal filtrate. The essential particles are reabsorbed from the filtrate into the interstitium. The essential particles are reabsorbed from filtrate into the interstitium. Isn't it? What is the essential particle? Sodium. Sodium is the essential particle which is reabsorbed from the filtrate into the interstitium. The sodium is reabsorbed. What is the other crucial component? Water. Water is reabsorbed. Pani is also reabsorbed from renal filtrate into the interstitium. Why? Because of the release of the hormone called as aldosterone. The mineralocorticoids, okay, the chief mineralocorticoid is the aldosterone. What is the chief mineralocorticoid in the human body? Aldosterone. Aldosterone. That's the hormone. Why the aldosterone has to be released by the zona glomerulosa of the cortex? The zona glomerulosa releases which one? A mineralocorticoid called as aldosterone. Why? Because the zona glomerulosa is stimulated by the very important hormone called as What is that? Angiotensin. Angiotensin 2. Angiotensin 2. It's a hormone which stimulates the zona glomerulosa. Then the zona glomerulosa releases a very important mineralocorticoid as aldosterone into the blood. The aldosterone now stimulates which one? Increasing renal reabsorption of sodium and water from the renal filtrate of the tubule into the interstitium. From there it is going to the blood. In this way, the aldosterone is responsible for, number one is, in this way, aldosterone is responsible for various functions. What is that? One is the blood pressure is maintained. Blood pressure is maintained by the aldosterone because of the increasing renal reabsorption. Next one is osmotic balance is maintained. Osmotic balance is maintained because of this renal reabsorption of sodium and water from the, which one? The filtrate into the interstitium. Okay. Next one is the electrolyte balance is maintained. Electrolyte or ionic balance is maintained. And body fluid volume is also maintained constant. Body fluid volume is also maintained here by the aldosterone. One is the blood pressure is maintained, osmotic balance is maintained, electrolyte or ionic balance is maintained, the fluid volume, that is water, because the water is reabsorbed now from the interstitium, from the filtrate into the interstitium. Water is reabsorbed. So it maintains which one? The blood pressure. And sodium is also reabsorbed from the filtrate into the interstitium. The sodium can maintain the blood pressure. If the sodium content is decreasing in the blood, low blood pressure. So what is the solution? Aldosterone is released instantly. When there is a low blood pressure, aldosterone is released instantly from the glomerulosa. As a result, increasing renal reabsorption of sodium from the filtrate into the surrounding interstitium. And also, fluid volume is also maintained constant. Water is reabsorbed. As a result, net result is, because of the reabsorption of water and sodium, the blood pressure is increasing. Okay. And osmotic balance is also increasing, and electrolyte or ionic balance is also increasing. Balance is also maintained. Why? Because the sodium, no doubt, is reabsorbed. Okay. Similarly, what is sent into the filtrate? Potassium ions. Potassium ions are secreted from the interstitium into the filtrate. The potassium ions, likewise, the phosphate ions. The phosphate ions are also secreted from the filtrate into the interstitium. Sorry, from the interstitium into the filtrate. So, which ones are secreted from interstitium into the filtrate? One is potassium ion, other is the phosphate ions. Both are secreted from the interstitium into the filtrate. Likewise, sodium and water are reabsorbed from filtrate into the interstitium. In this way, the blood pressure is maintained constant. And next one is osmotic balance is maintained, electrolyte balance is maintained, the fluid volume is also maintained. All these because of the release of the aldosterone. That's why the destruction of adrenal cortex leads to the person's death, because the chief mineralocorticoid aldosterone is not produced. Then this is not maintained, means it leads to the person's death. Okay, students. That's all about the mineralocorticoid, students. And that is, first of all, it is here, what is that? Glomerulosa. GFR, isn't it? We have been discussing GFR. That is glomerulosa fasciculata reticularis. This one is finished. Now let's discuss about the fasciculata. What is the next one? Fasciculata. Zona fasciculata. Now zona fasciculata. The zona fasciculata releases the corticoids from steroids called as glucocorticoids. Glucocorticoids. The chief glucocorticoid is a cortisol. Cortisol is a chief glucocorticoid. Okay, many glucocorticoids are released here by the fasciculata, but the chief and notable and most important one is a corticoid called as a cortisol here. It's a stress combat hormone. Stress combat hormone. And it is released during which one? Stress. Whenever you are feeling stress, tomorrow is going to be declared which one? NEET result. Tomorrow, for example. Then you are in stress, obviously. Okay, that is NEET result, for example. NEET result. Stress. Then stress combat hormone called as cortisol is released by the which one? Zona fasciculata. Zona fasciculata releases which one? Cortisol. It's a stress combat hormone. You have to meet with the stress. It's an emergency like situation, isn't it? So the body should be having which one? More energy. Whenever you are in stress, what is required? More energy is required. That's why you eat, take chocolates more whenever you are in stress. Eat more. Consume the food more whenever you are in stress because of this reason only. Because you require more energy. That in the form of ATP. What is the basic process here? The basic process is, all of you see here. Cell, mitochondria, uptake of glucose molecule along with the oxygen. That is, oxygen is required. Of course, water is required. I am not including this one. Glucose molecule is required. Oxygen is required for the cellular uptake of these molecules. And then mitochondria takes place. This one, oxidation takes place. As a result, what is released? Carbon dioxide, of course. ATP and heat is also released here. ATP and heat is released here. Isn't it? That is, ATP anyway is released here. But what we require? We require glucose molecules along with the oxygen. That is, instantly when the stress combat hormone called as cortisol is released, what will the cortisol do here? Let's discuss the functions of cortisol. Cortisol, what is it doing to deal with the stress? Very important, very interesting also. Clear, students? Also type in the comment box below, what is the stress combat hormone? First, so cortisol is released. First of all, it does which one? More release of which one? More release of glucose molecules. Glucose molecules are required. See here, the glucose molecules are required to meet with the stress because more energy in the form of ATP is required. That is why the glucose molecules are released. How? Because the cortisol destroys, breakdowns the protein called as proteolysis. Proteolysis. As a result, it leads to the glucose molecule and lipolysis also here. And also lipolysis. Breakdown of which one? Lipid molecule to release into the glucose. And also any non-carbohydrate source. Non-carbohydrate source also. And glucose is formed. This process is called as the gluconeogenesis. Gluconeogenesis. Breakdown of the any non-carbohydrate to form the glucose is called as the gluconeogenesis. So what is gluconeogenesis? Formation of the glucose from non-carbohydrate source is called as the gluconeogenesis. Anyway, because of the destruction, breakdown of protein molecules, that is proteolysis. Breakdown of the lipid molecule, that is lipolysis. Breakdown of any non-carbohydrate source. Anyway, what is formed? The glucose molecule is formed here. Then the cells, there is an increased uptake of glucose molecule by the cells. Then, glucose problem is solved. Then what is also required? Oxygen is required. Where from oxygen is coming? From the atmosphere. We breathe in oxygen. Inspiration, inhalation, isn't it? That's why whenever you are in stress, you take more oxygen. You take more oxygen, isn't it? You are in stress. Isn't it? So here, we take more oxygen during the inspiration, increased breathing. Okay. But the oxygen now should be supplied which one? Cells. Oxygen should be supplied from lungs to the cells. Which one is doing this headache? RBC. Why? Because RBC contains the hemoglobin. RBC contains the hemoglobin. So what is required now? More oxygen is there. But oxygen should be supplied which one? Cells. That's why more RBC production and more erythropoiesis. So the cortisol instantly stimulates which one? Kidney. Why? Because kidney releases the hormone called as erythropoietin. Then erythropoietin stimulates which one? Bone marrow, red bone marrow. Red bone marrow goes for which one? More RBC production. That is erythropoiesis. More RBC production during the erythropoiesis. Erythropoiesis means the process of formation of RBC or erythrocytes by the erythropoietic tissue called as red bone marrow. In this way, more RBC. So excess of oxygen is already there, and more RBC means more hemoglobin. More oxygen binds with the hemoglobin to form the oxyhemoglobin. More oxygen is supplied to the cells for metabolism. Already glucose is also taken, oxygen is taken. That's why more amount of ATP molecules are generated. That's because of the which one? Cortisol. Stress combat hormone. In this way, it deals with the stress. Now, which one is doing all this headache? Which one is supplying the glucose? Blood is supplying. Oxygen is supplied by the blood. But how the blood is supplying? Only because of the blood vessels. That is, oxygenated blood should be so pumped into the arteries, systemic arteries. Which one is doing this one? The heart. The heart is doing this function. That is, the cortisol is also enhancing which one? Cardiovascular function. What is cardio? Heart. Vascular means blood vessels. More cardiac output, more blood is flowed from the heart to the blood vessels, systemic arteries. More oxygenated blood is supplied and more metabolism happens here. That is, this is also influencing the cardiovascular function. And meanwhile, the oxygen and glucose, which is supposed to go to the immune cells, is diverting to the rest of the cells here. Actually, the immune cells are also there, lymphocytes are there, other important structures are there which enhances the immune system. But all these are diverted to which one? General cells. So the immune cells are lacking, they are devoid of glucose and oxygen. So there is an increasing inefficiency. Not increasing efficiency, but increasing inefficiency. That is decreasing efficiency of the immune cells. That's why when the cortisol is released, the immune responses are collapsed. Collapsed immune responses. Immune responses collapsed. That's why when you are stressed, you are more prone to disease, even corona. When you are fearful, phobias, any stress, worries, you are more prone to attack of corona here. Because why? Because more stress means more cortisol. More cortisol means decreased immune responses. Decreased immune responses means more infections by virus, bacteria, etc. here. It's very simple, isn't it? And also the cortisol suppresses the inflammatory responses. That is, it encourages the anti-inflammation. It encourages the anti-inflammation. What is inflammation? That is an immune response to the pathogenic attack, microbial attack. That is called as inflammation. But the cortisol, and cortisol, both are there here. Cortisol is there, cortisol is also there. Both are the stress combat hormones. Cortisol encourages the anti-inflammatory responses here. Students, all of you. Now, you have to remember that heat is also released after metabolism. More oxygen, more glucose means more cellular uptake of these molecules, then more oxidation, more release of energy in the form of ATP. Along with this one, more heat is also released here. That is why whenever you are in stress, more sweating. Because the more heat release, more body temperature. More heat means more body temperature, increase of body temperature. That should be going out for the thermoregulation, because the constant body temperature, because we are the homeotherms, maintenance of the constant body temperature. That's why the excess of heat is lost from the skin to the sweat glands. That is why more sweating also during the stress. More sweating during the stress here. More sweating. That is our next definition. More sweating. Clear, students, all of you? So we can say that what is the bottom line here? Bacho? The cortisol and cortisol. Cortisol and also cortisol. Cortisol and cortisol both are the stress combat hormones. And they are nothing but glucocorticoids released by the fasciculator part of the adrenal cortex. Next one, what is remaining? Last one, GFR. R stands for which one? Reticularis, zona reticularis here. Okay, students. The last one is called as zona reticularis. It releases a corticoids or steroid called as sex corticoids. Sex corticoids like androgens, the male sex hormones, estrogens, the female sex hormones, which bring the various secondary sexual characters. But these sex corticoids are very weak. They are less potent because the strong corticoids, the strong androgens and what is that? Strong sex hormones are released by the gonads. The male gonad is called as testis and the female gonad is called as ovaries. They releases the very strengthened sex hormones. But here, very weak sex corticoids called as which one? Androgens and estrogens are released here. So I'll be discussing what are the effects of these androgens and what are the effects of these estrogens. I'll be discussing in one of the separate video under the testis and ovaries, not now here. So that's all about the adrenal cortex. Okay, students, hope you enjoyed my session. All of you. Bye, students.